Manual for Secure Opposition, Operating in a Non-Permissive Environment. Foreword, the Philosophy of Asymmetric Conflict. The organization we build operates in a state of asymmetric conflict. This is not a conflict defined by conventional military engagements, but one fought on the terrain of information, trust, and perception. When the opposition is a powerful, entrenched, and secretive adversary that has captured the essential machinery of the state, including its surveillance, financial, and judicial systems, the traditional rules of political organizing no longer apply. This manual is, therefore, a guide to survival and long-term endurance, grounded in the principles of intelligence tradecraft and historical resistance movements. 1. Understanding the adversary, total information control versus human trust. The foundational premise of this manual is the clear-eyed assessment of the adversary's overwhelming strengths and the single, potent weakness of all authoritarian systems. The adversary's power, the omniscient state. The modern, captured government wields total information control (TIC). This is not simply police surveillance, it is a systemic control over the data streams of everyday life. The adversary's capabilities include metadata analysis. They track who communicates with whom, when, and where. Even if the content of a message is encrypted, the metadata, the timing and location of the communication, reveals relationships, hierarchies, and meeting patterns. Financial tracing. Every bank transfer, digital payment, and major purchase leaves a permanent, traceable ledger entry. Anonymous funding and logistics become virtually impossible on a systemic scale. The digital panopticon. Every personal electronic device, smartphones, smart homes, laptops, is a listening, tracking, and recording apparatus. The adversary uses this infrastructure to create a detailed pattern of life, POL, profile for every citizen. Any deviation from the POL is an anomaly that triggers an investigation. The adversary aims to make every action traceable, every meeting discoverable, and every thought potentially actionable. This is an environment of near-perfect digital surveillance, where one careless mistake can collapse an entire network. The opposition's strength, the inviolable bond of human trust. The great weakness of total information control is its dependence on technology and scalability. While technology is effective at policing billions of data points, it is inherently ineffective at replacing deep, organic human trust. The resistance's only true advantage is its ability to form networks based on relationships, family, shared history, and mutual sacrifice that precede and exist outside the data grid. The adversary can intercept messages and track finances, but they cannot manufacture or reliably infiltrate a bond built over decades. Our operational security relies on making the human element, the most volatile component, also the most resilient, forcing the adversary to expend immense, non-scalable resources on traditional, risky, and visible espionage instead of automated data mining. 2. The Prime Directive, Compartmentalization, Discipline, and Deniability. Given the operating environment, every action must be guided by the 3 pillars of the Prime Directive. These are not merely suggestions, they are the laws governing the network's continued existence. Compartmentalization. This principle dictates that no single individual should ever possess more information than is absolutely necessary for the completion of their current task. It is the structural safeguard against capture and compromise. The ship's bulkhead analogy. A ship is divided into sealed compartments, bulkheads. If one compartment floods, the rest of the ship remains watertight. Similarly, the organization is structured into isolated cells. If cell A is compromised, its members can only give up the few names and tasks associated with their cell. They cannot give up cell B, the strategic leadership, or the broader network goals, because they simply do not know them. The need-to-know basis. Curiosity is a security violation. Leaders are responsible for deliberately withholding information, even from trusted subordinates, purely for the sake of the network's resilience. Discipline. Discipline is the continuous, unyielding application of operational security, OPSEC protocols. It requires members to treat security as a lifestyle and a cultural value, not a checklist. Human error is the primary threat. In the face of state-level TIC, the most sophisticated firewall is useless if an agent uses a personal phone to send a quick text about a meeting time. Discipline means adhering strictly to protocols like OAA gaps, never mixing sensitive planning with devices capable of recording or transmitting. O dead drops, the patience and rigor required to execute physical communications protocols perfectly, even under low-stress conditions. O the pattern of life, the mental fortitude to maintain an outwardly boring and innocuous existence. Zero tolerance, failure to follow protocols is not a mistake, it is a security breach that endangers everyone. Deniability. This is the ability of the organization, or any individual within it, to plausibly and truthfully deny knowledge of a specific act, member, or objective. Deniability protects the innocent, but more critically, it protects the core leadership. Plausible deniability. The strategic leadership ensures that all commands are issued through multiple cutouts and proxies, such that no single line of evidence can trace a tactical operation back to the network's nexus. The truth of ignorance. When an arrested member is interrogated, their denials about other cells or leadership are not simply lies, they are, structurally, the truth. They do not know and therefore cannot reveal the information. This prevents the adversary from gaining actionable intelligence through coercion or torture. 3. Defining success, survival as the first victory. In a conflict against an overwhelmingly powerful state, the definition of victory must be recalibrated. The long war, the resistance network cannot achieve an outright victory overnight. Its goal is to survive intact, maintain the capacity to communicate, and keep the flame of opposition alive until the political, economic, or social landscape shifts. Maintaining capacity. Success is measured not by how many documents were leaked or how many actions were completed, but by the network's endurance coefficient, the number of arrests or compromises it can sustain without collapsing. If the adversary raids 10 safe houses and only finds one cell's worth of information, the resistance has won that engagement. The act of existence, simply existing as an organized, uninfiltrated counterstructure, is the first, and most important, victory. It proves that the adversary's claim to total control is an illusion. When the moment of crisis arrives, a financial collapse, a political uprising, or a change in external pressure, the enduring, secured opposition network is the only structure capable of acting decisively and gidding the populace. This foreword establishes the mindset. We are building not a momentary protest, but a resilient, subterranean fortress of trust and information control, designed to withstand the inevitable storm of the state's total surveillance apparatus. Part I. Secure structural design, the cell architecture. 1. The theory of compartmentalization. Compartmentalization is the organizational principle that ensures the network's resilience against inevitable compromise. In a conflict against an adversary with total information control, TIC, it must be assumed that some members will eventually be identified, captured, or compromised. The goal of secure design is not to achieve impossible invisibility, but to ensure that the loss of any single cell, or even multiple cells, results in a minimal and localized information breach, preventing a cascading failure that could dismantle the entire organization. This concept is borrowed directly from intelligence and military operations, where it is known as the need-to-know principle, but here it is enforced structurally. Every individual's field of vision is intentionally restricted to their immediate environment, making them inherently incapable of revealing the larger operational picture. This is the difference between a brittle tower and a resilient spiderweb. The key to successful compartmentalization lies in rigidly enforced isolation and the disciplined use of cutouts and dead drops, ensuring that human contact, the highest risk factor, is minimized. 1.1 The failure of the pyramid hierarchy, central point of failure. The primary enemy of a secure resistance movement is the pyramid hierarchy, the standard structure used by conventional armies, businesses, and political parties. This model is built for efficiency, control, and rapid top-down decision-making. These advantages are fatal in a non-permissive environment. Why the pyramid fails. 1. Decapitation risk. The leadership, the apex of the pyramid, is the central point of failure, CPF. If the adversary identifies and neutralizes the top 1 or 2 individuals, the entire command structure is instantly paralyzed. Historical examples show that many resistance groups were dismantled simply by targeting a handful of senior leaders who held all the strategic knowledge and communication keys. 2. Cascading compromise. The pyramid relies on direct reporting lines. A single mole at a mid-management level gains visibility into all subordinates below them, and often gains critical insight into the layer above them through direct communication. This creates a chain reaction. A captured middle manager can yield dozens of names, crippling entire branches of the network. 3. Scalability of risk. As the pyramid grows, the risk at the top scales exponentially. A movement with 100 members in a pyramid structure requires 100% security from the top leader. A single lapse exposes everything. Example: the failure of the single leader network. Consider a well-known political organizer who heads a large activist group. This person knows the fundraising accounts, the names of the regional coordinators, the full donor list, and the strategic goals. When the adversary targets this single person through digital surveillance, financial pressure, or arrest, they gain access to the keys of the entire organization. The efficiency of the pyramid becomes its greatest vulnerability. The secure alternative is the cellular network. 1.2 Defining the cell, the rule of 3 and size limits. A cell is the fundamental unit of the secure opposition network. It is a small, functionally independent, self-contained operational team that exists in isolation from the rest of the organization. The rule of 3. While cell sizes can vary slightly, the optimal configuration is often referred to as the rule of 3. A cell of 3 to 5 members provides the best balance of operational capability, security, and trust management. Optimal trust. It is realistically possible for 3 people to know each other intimately, to vouch for one another's character and history, and to manage operational security protocols consistently. Trust degrades quickly in larger groups, where interpersonal conflicts, rivalries, or simple carelessness can create security vulnerabilities. Effective deniability. In a 3-person cell, if 2 members are captured, the remaining member has a higher probability of slipping away, and the captured members have fewer names to reveal under duress. The list of known associates is tightly contained. Functional independence. 3 people are enough to distribute basic operational roles: a leader, a logistics communications specialist courier cutout, and an action operative. Isolation and pinch points. The defining characteristic of a cell is its absolute isolation. No intercell contact. Members of cell A do not know, see, or communicate directly with members of cell B. They must believe cell A is the entire extent of the organized resistance. The pinch point. Communication between cells or between a cell and the nexus, leadership, must pass through a singular, strictly controlled link known as a pinch point or cutout. The pinch point is often a single person, a courier or a mechanism, a dead drop. The courier knows the identity of the cell leader they communicate with, but must not know the identity of the person they receive the message from, and vice versa. They are a secure, non-transparent channel. This prevents a captured courier from revealing the identities of both the strategic leadership and an entire tactical cell. By limiting the size and maximizing the distance between operational units, the adversary is forced to engage in costly, high-risk intelligence work to uncover the next cell, instead of simply flipping a captured member for a list of contacts. 1.3 The difference between tactical and strategic cells. Not all cells are created equal. They are differentiated based on their function, their proximity to the strategic goals, and, critically, their level of exposure. This differentiation determines the strictness of their OPSEC and their level of dispensability. Strategic cells, the nexus. Strategic cells form the nexus, the central hidden core of the organization. They are the brains of the network and handle high-level, sensitive functions. Function. Intelligent synthesis, analyzing information from multiple tactical cells. High-level resource allocation, finance large logistics. Creating the strategic mandate, the what and the why, not the how. Vetting and managing pinch points, cutouts. Exposure and OPSEC. These cells require the highest level of OPSEC. Their members must have decades-long relationships and impeccable discipline. They are never involved in field operations. They do not travel, use public comms, or perform actions that generate a new digital signature. Their physical locations are secure, permanent, and known only within the cell. Goal, maximum protection and endurance. Their compromise would be catastrophic. Tactical cells, the operators. Tactical cells are the hands and feet of the network. They execute specific, low-information tasks given to them by the strategic nexus via the pinch point. They operate under a strict task-specific mandate. Function. O. Field surveillance and intelligence gathering, the how much and where. O. Transport and secure movement of materiel or personnel. O. Executing specific actions, e.g., distributing anonymous materials, accessing a specific file. O. Logistics and secure housing. Exposure and OPSEC. O. They are designed to be expendable, though not carelessly so. If compromised, the information they possess is limited to the single task they were executing and the identity of their pinch point. O. They are given task-specific knowledge only. For instance, a cell tasked with moving a package only knows the drop-off point and the pickup signal. They do not know what is in the package or where it goes next. O. Goal, operational execution with high deniability. They are the layers of insulation protecting the nexus. Example, the strategic mandate versus the tactical task. Aspect strategic nexus cell tactical field cell. Mission, determine a secure method to transfer $50,000 to the northern sector by December 1st. Retrieve package Alpha from dead drop 7A at 200 hours and deposit it in dead drop 12B by dawn. Knowledge knows the source of the funds, the final beneficiary, and the overall objective, e.g., funding a specific operation. Only knows the physical coordinates and timing of the two dead drops, does not know the content or the final purpose. Risk low operational risk, but high information risk, high operational risk exposure to surveillance, but low information risk. By separating the strategic brain, which knows why, from the tactical hands, which know how to do one specific thing, the organization ensures that compromise only results in the loss of a limb, not the loss of the head. This rigorous architecture is the key to enduring the long war. 2. Cell formation and isolation. The core challenge in building the cellular network is not forming the cells, but effectively isolating them from one another and the central leadership. Isolation is the creation of security airlocks that prevent a breach in one area from extending into another. This section details the necessary horizontal and vertical firewalls required for network survival. 2.1 Horizontal isolation, preventing information leakage across cells. Horizontal isolation is the firewall between cells of the same operational layer, e.g., tactical cell A versus tactical cell B. The network must be structured so that every cell is functionally deaf and blind to its peers. The principle of zero overlap. The fundamental rule of horizontal isolation is zero overlap. Members of cell A cannot know anything, names, faces, operational locations, or even the existence of the specific tasks of cell B. Geographical separation. Cells should, where possible, operate in distinct geographical zones. If tactical cell A operates exclusively within the city's northern sector, cell B should operate in the southern sector. This reduces the chance that an adversary surveillance team monitoring cell A will accidentally spot a member of cell B. Social isolation. Members of different cells must not share common social networks, employers, or family ties. Shared contacts create metadata trails that the adversary can easily exploit to link the cells together. If cell A and cell B share a common friend, who is not a network member, a simple warrant for that friend's phone records can reveal contact patterns with both cells. Exposing the entire layer. The one-cell world mindset. Every cell member must genuinely believe that their cell is the only operational group in their area, or at least the only one they are authorized to know about. This is crucial for deniability. If captured, they truthfully report that they have no knowledge of any other groups. Example, the failure of shared meetings. Imagine two distinct tactical cells, Alpha and Beta, are established in the same city. The leadership makes the mistake of having the leaders of Alpha and Beta meet once a month for a general strategy briefing. The adversary tracks this single meeting and identifies both leaders. They now have the key link that connects two previously isolated networks. The simple act of the shared meeting violates horizontal isolation and turns two separate firewalls into one compromised bridge. Horizontal isolation mandates that these two cell leaders must communicate only through a cutout or dead drop, managed by the nexus. 2.2 Vertical isolation, the use of cutouts and couriers. Vertical isolation is the firewall between operational layers, e.g., tactical cells and the strategic nexus. It prevents the inevitable exposure of a high-risk tactical cell from compromising the low-risk strategic nexus. This is achieved exclusively through the use of pinch points, often embodied by couriers and cutouts. The necessity of the pinch point. A pinch point is an organizational node designed to handle the critical, high-risk function of communication while possessing the lowest possible amount of compromising information. They are the human equivalent of a secure proxy server. The courier, a person whose sole task is physical transport. They carry messages or materiel between two secure locations, dead drops or secure meeting points. Oh, need to know, the courier only knows the location of the sender A and the location of the receiver B. They do not know the content of the message, the identity of A or B beyond a simple code or recognition phrase, or the strategic context. The cutout, a person who manages a secure channel between a high-value asset and an operational cell. They often exist in a separate social sphere entirely, acting as a translator or message handler. Oh, need to know, the cutout knows the identity of the cell they are communicating with, tactical cell leader, but must not know the identity or physical location of the strategic nexus leader who provided the message. This disconnect is the essence of vertical security. Example, the interrogation defense. A tactical cell leader, Victor, is arrested. He is tortured for information. Victor knows his 3 cell members and the identity of the courier, Leo, who delivers his tasks. Victor does not know where Leo goes after leaving the dead drop or who Leo reports to. Leo, the courier, is also arrested. Leo knows Victor's identity and the dead drop location, but he does not know the identity of the strategic nexus member who placed the message for him to pick up. The chain of information is broken. Victor gives up Leo, but Leo cannot give up the nexus. Vertical isolation is designed to sacrifice the lower layer to save the higher layer. 2.3 The Cutout Protocol, Rules for Intermediaries. The cutout protocol is the strict, standardized procedure that governs all non-direct communication. It enforces the double-blind principle, ensuring that the source and the destination of the information never gain mutual intelligence on each other. The double-blind principle. In any communication involving a cutout, there are 3 participants. 1 source nexus writes the message, the strategic mandate. 2 cutout, the courier, handles the physical transfer, the pinch point. 3 destination cell leader executes the instructions, the tactical operator. The protocol demands 1 source to cut out. The source gives the cutout the message and instructions for delivery, but does not reveal the destination's identity, location, or purpose. Communication is impersonal, e.g., take this package to drop site gamma. 2 cutout to destination. The cutout delivers the message to the destination, but does not reveal the source's identity, location, or strategic goals. The cutout appears as a neutral delivery mechanism. 3 The content blind. In high-risk communications, the cutout should be prevented from knowing the contents of the message, often by sealing it in a tamper-evident, opaque container. This provides deniability to the cutout if the message contains illegal or highly sensitive instructions. Protocol enforcement and fail-safes. The most common breach of this protocol is the human temptation to be helpful. The cutout may try to give context, or the destination may try to probe for the source's identity. This must be met with immediate and absolute discipline. Recognition phrases. Couriers and cutouts must only use pre-established meaningless recognition phrases, e.g., the weather in Kiev is mild today, and pre-arranged visual signals. Any deviation suggests compromise or an attempt at unauthorized communication. Burn cycles. Cutouts should have a limited operational life or burn cycle. After a set number of deliveries, e.g., 10 successful exchanges, the cutout is retired from that specific route and replaced. This prevents the adversary from building a long-term data profile around a single communication link. Operational addendum, non-routine courier activation. To fully protect the cutout courier and the nexus, the timing of the exchange must be event-driven and non-routine, thereby defeating the adversary's reliance on predictive surveillance algorithms and pattern-of-life (POL) analysis. Pre-planned schedules are a critical vulnerability. The danger of routine and digital instruction. A fixed weekly schedule gives the adversary predictable windows for surveillance. Conversely, direct digital commands, go to drop site Gamma now, require the Nexus to use highly risky, traceable electronic communication, compromising the vertical isolation. The secure method relies on signal sites. The secure solution, passive activation via signal sites. The optimal method requires the courier to be available, but only activated by a non-digital, non-traceable signal. 1. Scheduled readiness windows. The courier is given a broad, standing readiness window, e.g. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., known only to them and their immediate manager. This dictates their availability and OPSEC discipline, but not their movement. 2. The signal site. A signal site is an innocuous public object, a specific lamp post, a bus stop sign, a unique mailbox, situated near the courier's established, publicly observed route, e.g., the route they take home from their cover job. 3. Non-digital trigger. When the Nexus has a message ready at the dead drop, a designated agent, who is not a Nexus member, drives past the signal site and performs a subtle, pre-arranged alteration, e.g., placing a unique magnetic marker under a bench, adjusting the angle of a specific newspaper box. This signal setter's action must be indistinguishable from normal civilian life, e.g., momentarily pausing to tie a shoe. 4. The activation check. The courier, as part of their daily routine, performs a subtle, practiced visual check of the signal site. If the marker is present, they know the route is live, and they must proceed immediately to the assigned dead drop alpha, and execute the protocol. This process ensures the activation is both non-traceable by digital means and variable in its timing, forcing the adversary to commit continuous, unsustainable human surveillance resources to cover the dead drop sites. 2.4 Establishing the central node, the Nexus, minimizing exposure of strategic leadership. The strategic cells, collectively forming the Nexus, are the highest value assets and must be secured with a level of rigor that borders on paranoia. The Nexus is the only entity that holds the complete strategic mandate, the full roster of pinch points, and the financial resources. Its exposure is the network's extinction event. Physical and digital seclusion. The Nexus must be geographically, socially, and digitally isolated from the operational noise of the tactical cells. Geographical buffer. The Nexus should operate far away from known areas of conflict or interest for the tactical cells. If the tactical cells operate in the capital, the Nexus might operate 500 miles away in a remote, unassuming community. This creates a physical and jurisdictional buffer that slows down the adversary's response time if a tactical cell is compromised. Digital isolation. Nexus members must operate in a state of total digital silence. They do not own or carry personal cell phones, use credit cards, or interact with public Wi-Fi. All electronic devices used for planning, e.g., computers for encryption. Record keeping must be air-gapped, never connected to the public internet or any untrusted network. The shadow presence. The strategic cells must maintain flawless cover identities. Their public pattern of life must be utterly mundane and completely separate from their internal work. The role of the Nexus. The Nexus does not micromanage. Its primary role is to set the course, protect the integrity of the network, and be the single point of intelligence synthesis. Intelligence inflow. The Nexus receives raw, compartmentalized reports from many different tactical cells via their respective pinch points. By putting the pieces together, the Nexus forms a complete intelligence picture without any single tactical cell ever knowing the scope of the full picture. Decision-making and direction. Based on the synthesized intelligence, the Nexus issues new strategic mandates, which are then broken down and transmitted to the tactical cells as isolated, actionable tasks via the same cutout system. Vetting authority. The Nexus maintains the master trust file, overseeing all vetting and making the ultimate decision on integrating new members or replacing compromised assets. This process must never be delegated to the lower, more exposed layers of the network. By strictly adhering to these principles of horizontal and vertical isolation, the opposition transforms from a vulnerable, centralized target into a decentralized, resilient system that forces the adversary to expend immense effort to capture tiny, non-actionable pieces of the puzzle. Detailed example of the package lifecycle. This is a comprehensive overview of a secure mission cycle, designed to use the layered architecture and isolation protocols described in the manual's structural sections 1 and 2. The entire cycle ensures that no single point of failure can reveal the full chain of command, the strategic intent, or the final operational location. The mission example used here is a request from the Nexus for critical intelligence data, e.g., surveillance on a specific target building, referred to as Asset X. Phase I, outbound flow, command transmission. This phase moves the strategic will of the organization from the protected core to the operational edge. Step 1, strategic planning and encryption, the Nexus Layer A. The strategic nexus, section 1.3.2.4, defines the mission goal, e.g., obtain the precise pattern of life data for Asset X. A Nexus member drafts the tactical task, e.g., perform 72 hours of observation on Asset X, logging all vehicle license plates and shift changes. The message is encrypted, e.g., using a one-time pad, ensuring content blindness, and sealed in a tamper-evident package, designated as Package Alpha. Step 2, Nexus to Source Agent Transfer, Layer A to B. The Nexus must never directly use its permanent base for communication drop-offs. A designated Nexus member, or a deeply trusted internal courier, executes a high-OPSEC non-routine glimpse meet with the source agent pinch point manager, Layer B, at a randomized location, section 2.3. The Nexus member transfers Package Alpha to the source agent without giving context or discussing the contents. The Nexus member and source agent do not share any common network aside from this highly restricted transfer point. Step 3, passive activation of the route, the source agent Layer B. The source agent initiates the mission without using traceable digital communications. The source agent proceeds to the signal site near the courier's routine path, section 2.3 addendum. The agent subtly sets the non-digital trigger, e.g., changing the position of a specific public marker. This signifies to the courier that dead drop A is now hot. Step 4, courier retrieval and blind transport, the courier Layer C. The courier cutout acts solely as a physical conduit. The courier, during their normal pattern of life POL routine, checks the signal site and confirms the signal is set. The courier executes their surveillance detection route, SDR, and proceeds to dead drop A, retrieves Package Alpha and places it into their secure transport container. The courier is content blind, section 2.3. The courier then travels their SDR to the tactical cell's location, dead drop B. Step 5, tactical cell retrieval, Layer C to D. The command message reaches the action layer. The courier places Package Alpha at dead drop B and sets the cell's unique return signal. The cell leader, Layer D, detects the signal and performs their own SDR before retrieving the package. The cell leader decrypts the message, reviews the task and briefs the operator for execution. Phase II, inbound flow, reporting and intelligence synthesis. This phase moves the raw intelligence data from the operational edge back to the secure core. Step 6, data preparation and encrypted return, the tactical cell Layer D. The operator completes the surveillance of Asset X and delivers the raw data, logs, images, etc., to the cell leader. The cell leader encrypts the report, e.g., using the return key of the one-time pad, and seals it in a package designated as Report Alpha Return. The cell leader deposits Report Alpha Return back into dead drop B and sets the return signal for the courier. Step 7, reverse blind transport, the courier Layer C. The courier detects the return signal at dead drop B, retrieves Report Alpha Return, and transports it back to dead drop A. The courier remains ignorant of the content and the ultimate recipient, preserving their lowest information risk profile, section 2.2. Step 8, final transfer to the core Layer C to A. The source agent, Layer B, retrieves Report Alpha Return from dead drop A. The source agent transfers the package to the designated Nexus member via another brief, high-OPSEC exchange. The agent's job is complete, and they now enter their cool-down period before their next activation. Step 9, intelligence synthesis, the Nexus Layer A end. The Nexus member decrypts Report Alpha Return. The Nexus analyzes the raw data. Since the information is compartmentalized, This report is combined with similar data from other isolated tactical cells, e.g., a financial report from cell beta or a supply report from cell gamma, to create the complete secure intelligence picture, section 2.4. Mission complete. The entire strategic knowledge base is updated without the nexus ever having been physically exposed or digitally tracked. Part II, Operational Roles and Specialization. The success of the cellular network hinges not just on its architecture, but on the flawless execution of specific duties by specialized personnel. These roles are designed to distribute risk and enforce the need-to-know principle at the human level. 3.1 The Cell Leader. Responsibilities and Security Mandate. The cell leader is the most critical link in the tactical cell, layer D. They are the primary interface between the isolated cell and the cutout system, acting as the information firewall for their subordinates. They bear the highest responsibility for internal OPSEC discipline and mission fidelity. Core responsibilities. Internal OPSEC vetting. The cell leader is the sole authority for ensuring the discipline of their 2-4 members, the Rule of 3, Section 1.2. They must conduct periodic, surprise checks on subordinate adherence to digital silence and personal security protocols. Decryption and briefing. They are the only person in the cell who possesses the decryption key, e.g., the one-time pad segment, for the mission package received from the courier. They read the entire task-specific mandate, Section 1.3, but only brief the operator on the immediate, actionable step. The first contact, firewall. The cell leader is the only person authorized to approach the dead drop B location and receive communication from the courier cutout. This protects the identity and POL of the rest of the cell. Security mandate, the nexus buffer. The cell leader's primary security mandate is to be the buffer between the high-risk fieldwork and the secure nexus communication. Passive interaction only. They must never attempt to initiate contact with the courier cutout or probe for information about the source agent. Their role is reactive: wait for the signal, retrieve the package, and execute the task. Financial isolation. The cell leader should manage any local currency or logistics funds required for the mission, but they must never handle large sums or use traceable bank methods. Funding must be delivered physically and anonymously via a separate logistics cutout network if necessary. Example, task dissemination. The cell leader receives a mandate to monitor Asset X, Step 5. The mandate includes the target's name, address, and the strategic reason for the surveillance. The cell leader only tells the operator, go to coordinates X, Y at 300, watch the west entrance for 72 hours. Log vehicle plates and shift changes. Do not engage. The operator remains blissfully ignorant of the target's identity and the strategic goal, preserving their deniability. 3.2 The Courier Runner. Secure physical logistics and transport. The courier runner, layer C, is the organizational node of greatest operational risk, as their actions are visible, repetitive, and time-sensitive. Their function is purely kinetic, to move the message without understanding it. Core responsibilities. Blind dead drop execution. Flawless execution of the non-reciprocal exchange, Section 2.3, between dead drop A source agent and dead drop B cell leader. Surveillance detection routine, SDR mastery. The courier's SDR is arguably the most critical operational tool. Before and after every drop, they must run a complex, multi-layered route designed to uncover if they are being followed by fixed or moving surveillance. Pattern of life POL protection. The courier must cultivate a public identity that completely obscures their mission. Their covered job and social life must account for every moment of their day, allowing them to explain any observed travel pattern if questioned by the adversary. The route deviation to service the dead drop must be minor and explainable, e.g., stopping for a late-night coffee, walking the dog. Security mandate, the untraceable conduit. The courier's knowledge is deliberately restricted to maximize their protection if captured. Double-blind identity. They know the recognition sign of the source agent and the cell leader, but know nothing of their names, origins, or residences. Content blindness. They must not know the content of the package. Any attempt to peek or decrypt the message is an immediate violation, as it raises their information risk profile from a transport liability to a strategic threat. Burn cycles. Due to their high exposure, Couriers operate under strict burn cycles, Section 2.3. They are the most frequently rotated personnel, reinforcing the principle that the adversary must continuously start their tracking efforts from scratch. 3.3. The operator, executing tactical tasks. The operator is the primary implementer of the tactical task, Layer D. They are the hands and eyes on the ground, performing the high-exposure actions that directly confront the adversary's control apparatus. Core responsibilities. Field discipline, executing tasks, surveillance, distribution, secure transfer, with absolute adherence to the task-specific mandate provided by the cell leader. No freelancing is permitted. Total digital silence in the field. The operator must leave all personal electronic devices, digital wallets and personal identification at home, or in a secured, disconnected locker outside the operational zone. An operator's presence at a location must not generate a traceable device signal or transaction record. Mission success and retreat. The focus is on clean, efficient task completion and immediate, secure retreat to the cell's safe zone. The operator collects the raw intelligence and returns it to the cell leader for processing and encryption. Step 6. Security mandate, the expendable layer. The operator is designed to be the network's most expendable asset, but in a way that minimizes damage upon their loss. Zero context knowledge. If captured, the operator can truthfully reveal the specifics of their single task. I monitored X building for 72 hours, but they cannot reveal the purpose, why, the broader network, who else, or the nexus, who is in charge. This limited disclosure yields no actionable intelligence to the adversary. Minimal gear. They carry only necessary tools, e.g. camera, logging equipment, and pre-vetted, untraceable clothing. Everything carried is disposable and untraceable. Example, a task execution failure: an operator is apprehended while distributing anonymous informational leaflets. Under interrogation, they can only confirm the time, the location, and the fact that they received the box of leaflets from their cell leader, Jane Doe. They do not know who printed the leaflets, horizontal isolation, where they came from, vertical isolation, or the strategic goal, compartmentalization. The loss is contained to one mission and one contact. 3.4. The analyst watchman, monitoring surrounding environment, physical and digital. The analyst watchman is the cell's specialized intelligence officer. While often embedded within a tactical cell, or sometimes serving the nexus, their role is purely preventative, to identify threats, anomalies and surveillance before compromise occurs. Core responsibilities. Physical surveillance detection. This is the analyst's primary field task. They are responsible for observing fixed and mobile surveillance teams employed by the adversary. Fixed surveillance, identifying stakeouts, unoccupied vehicles, repetitive loiterers, near cell meeting points or dead drops. Moving surveillance, detecting tails by identifying repeated vehicles or individuals during an SDR. Pattern of life POL analysis. The analyst maintains a constantly updated profile on the cell's members and, more critically, on known adversary assets. They look for anomalies in the adversary's POL. Adversary anomaly. If a known local police cruiser is suddenly replaced by an unmarked van with different operating hours, the analyst alerts the cell leader that a potential surveillance asset switch has occurred. Digital noise monitoring. Although the cell maintains digital silence, the analyst may be assigned to a separate, highly secured non-personal workstation, air-gapped, to monitor publicly available information. They look for sudden shifts in public rhetoric, new surveillance laws being passed, or sudden increases in known adversary digital activity, e.g. phishing attempts, new spyware detected in the public domain. Security mandate, proactive paranoia. The analyst must embody proactive paranoia, translating abstract threat data into actionable security adjustments for the cell. Threat triage. The analyst receives raw observational data from all cell members and determines if a threat is genuine, e.g., a confirmed change in the adversary's routine, or merely random noise, e.g., a civilian's accidental repeat presence. They must not cry wolf, but they must treat every legitimate anomaly as an imminent threat. Route and location modification. Based on their findings, the analyst recommends immediate changes to meeting times, dead drop locations, and surveillance detection routes to maintain unpredictability and stay ahead of the adversary's tracking models. If the analyst detects that a courier's route is becoming statistically predictable to a computer model, they force an immediate, non-scheduled route change. This specialization ensures that the network is constantly adapting to the adversary's tactics, leveraging human intelligence and situational awareness to defeat total information control. Part II, Vetting, Recruitment and Trust Architecture. In a non-permissive environment, the human element is both the greatest source of strength, unbreakable trust, and the most significant vulnerability, human error, betrayal, or coercion. The adversary recognizes that physical infiltration is the only reliable way to dismantle a compartmentalized network. Therefore, the recruitment process must be treated as the network's primary security bottleneck, where all defenses are focused. Failure at this stage, the introduction of a hostile mole, results in the catastrophic compromise of an entire cell and the nexus connection. For the vetting protocol, defense against infiltration. The vetting protocol is a systematic, multi-stage assessment designed to achieve 3 objectives: verify loyalty, test discipline, and establish irreversible leverage. This process must be rigorous, deliberately slow, and managed only by the most trusted members of the strategic nexus, Layer A, or a dedicated, isolated vetting cell. The catastrophic cost of failure. A compromise originating from a trusted recruit has the following cascading consequences. 1. Direct loss of a cell. The mole immediately gains the names and operational methods of their assigned tactical cell, Layer D. 2. Compromise of vertical isolation. The mole gains the identity, POL, and operational procedure of their cell leader, and the immediate courier cut out, Layer C, establishing a direct path toward the nexus. 3. Destruction of trust fabric. The discovery of a mole, regardless of the extent of the damage, generates paralyzing internal distrust and forces the nexus to immediately dismantle and rebuild multiple cells, halting all operations for a cooling-off period of up to 12 months. The vetting protocol is designed to prevent these outcomes by making every stage a reversible test, and only allowing a recruit access to sensitive information when the risk of their failure is statistically minimized. 4.1 Organic recruitment. The absolute necessity of deep, pre-existing trust. In the modern surveillance state, recruitment based on public, shared political activism or recent friendships is a security violation. The adversary uses social media graphing and metadata analysis to identify all potential ties between known activists. Cold recruitment is a high-risk gamble. The pillars of organic trust. Organic recruitment relies on trust forged through relationships that existed before the conflict, and crucially, outside the political sphere. Family first tier, immediate family or deeply vetted extended relatives, siblings, spouses, cousins. This trust is rooted in shared biology, long-term codependence, and mutual, irreversible commitment to life outcomes. The risk of betrayal here is minimized by emotional leverage and shared stakes. Lifelong friends second tier, individuals with decades of shared history, childhood friends, university roommates. This relationship provides the proposer, the member introducing the recruit, with a comprehensive, verified pattern of life, POL, profile that predates the network's existence, making deep background checks simpler and more accurate. Non-political networks third tier, trusted associates from the proposers cover life, e.g., co-workers, religious community members, or hobby group members. These are individuals who have proven loyalty and discretion in non-political high-stakes environments, e.g., professional fiduciary duties, highly private shared activities. Defeating metadata analysis. Organic recruitment acts as an inherent defense against the adversary's metadata tracing. Section 1. Pre-existing connections. If the proposer and recruit have been calling and texting each other weekly for 10 years about mundane topics, the introduction of a single encrypted message 6 months ago is statistically indistinguishable from their normal relationship, burying the threat signal in decades of noise. Shared cover. The proximity of the relationship allows the proposer to vouch for the consistency of the recruit's cover identity and POL, reducing the risk of a deep infiltration being masked by a plausible but false life story. Example: the unacceptable risk of the new convert. A prominent public critic of the adversary suddenly approaches a known activist and volunteers to help. Vulnerability. This is a classic new convert trap. The adversary uses known agents or coerced citizens to feign ideological commitment. The activist has no history with the recruit, no way to verify their POL, and cannot distinguish their political enthusiasm from a professional intelligence operation. The immediate refusal of such a volunteer is a core OPSEC directive. 4.2 The slow roll test, gradual low-risk assignments to confirm loyalty and discipline. Once a candidate is organically identified, they must undergo the slow roll test, a minimum 6-month, multi-phase operational assessment designed to test their discipline under pressure and expose any covert loyalties without compromising the network. The goal is to gradually raise the emotional, physical, and legal stakes of their tasks. Phase I, the discipline test, observation and mundane tasks. Duration 3-4 months. Task, the recruit is given extremely simple non-network critical tasks, e.g., drive 200 miles to a specific town, wait for 1 hour, and deliver this empty, unmarked envelope to a post box. Objective, the proposer monitors the recruit's OPSEC discipline during these tasks. Does the recruit use their personal phone for navigation? Do they speed or panic? Do they ask questions about the envelope's contents? The canary trap, crucial subphase. The proposer intentionally includes a minor controlled security violation. For instance, the proposer might leave a cheap, unmarked USB stick containing a non-sensitive political essay visible during a meeting. The recruit is given a verbal instruction not to touch anything. If the recruit takes the USB stick, or mentions it, it flags a lack of discipline and excess curiosity. A failed discipline test immediately disqualifies the candidate. Phase II, the stress test, isolation and minor legal risk. Duration 2 months. Task, the recruit is given tasks with minor, but undeniable legal exposure, e.g., distributing anonymous leaflets in a high surveillance area, purchasing untraceable supplies for a third party using only cash and a circuitous route. Objective, to observe how the recruit handles post-mission stress and anxiety. Do they immediately change their POL, e.g., suddenly quit their job, cut off friends? Do they mention the task even vaguely to their spouse? The proposer maintains continuous subtle contact, offering opportunities for the recruit to confess failure or express fear. A recruit who maintains flawless composure and routine confirms mental stability and discipline. Compartmentalization test. The recruit is asked to receive and hold a sensitive item for 24 hours, but is explicitly told the item is not theirs and they must not look inside the package. This tests their ability to respect the need-to-know basis, even under high stress. 4.3 Financial and lifestyle analysis, detecting anomalies. The adversary's greatest tool is the financial tracing aspect of total information control, TIC. A mole or informant is often identified by their sudden, unexplained financial health, a payment from the state, or a sudden debt payoff. The vetting process must include a perpetual financial and lifestyle audit managed by the vetting cell. Financial auditing pre- and post-recruitment. Baseline POL establishment. Before recruitment, the vetting cell must use public sources and the proposer's knowledge to establish the recruit's definitive financial baseline: debt, employment history, spending habits. The zero anomaly rule. Any significant financial anomaly during the slow roll test, such as an unexplained purchase over $500, a sudden overseas trip, or the unexpected settlement of long-term debt, is an immediate red flag security violation that terminates the vetting process. Example, the coercion anomaly: a candidate, Jane, is otherwise disciplined. However, the vetting cell detects, through public property records, that a lien on her family home was suddenly satisfied 3 months into the slow roll. Interpretation: the adversary likely approached Jane before the network did, or identified her during the slow roll, and offered financial coercion, e.g., work for us and we'll protect your home. The monetary anomaly is a sign of an external force attempting to influence her loyalty. Vetting terminated. Digital fingerprint management. Digital purge. All successful candidates must undergo a supervised total purge of their personal digital history related to political affiliation or dissent, making their online profile bland and neutral. The digital firewall. The vetting cell installs or instructs the use of secure digital firewalls and encrypted communication methods that isolate the recruit's personal digital life from their network activities. The recruit must prove they can rigorously maintain this separation. The failure to maintain the digital separation is the most common reason for vetting protocol termination. 4.4 The final threshold, irreversible commitment and full integration. The final threshold marks the moment of irreversible commitment, transforming a candidate into a fully compartmentalized member of a tactical cell. This step is only taken when the candidate has successfully passed all phases of the slow roll test and their loyalty and discipline are considered functionally proven. The mechanism of mutual leverage. Full integration requires the establishment of mutual leverage, ensuring the recruit has as much to lose from betrayal as the network has to lose from their compromise. Shared incrimination, the irreversible act. The recruit is asked to participate in a first, high-stakes act that, if revealed, would result in severe consequences for them under the adversary's law, but which provides minimal actionable intelligence to the recruit. Example, the recruit is required to physically transfer and sign for a highly sensitive but non-actionable strategic document, e.g., a list of high-level philosophical tenets of the resistance, and then immediately destroy the document. Their digital signature or fingerprint on the receipt is sufficient evidence for the adversary to persecute them, establishing mutual risk, but the content of the document is useless for targeting other cells. The vow to the cell leader. The recruit is formally introduced to their cell leader, Section 3.1, and only their cell leader. The leader's first act is to explain the principle of compartmentalization and the immediate personal danger of attempting to violate vertical isolation. This meeting is brief and solemn, marking the transfer of responsibility for the recruit's security from the vetting cell to the cell leader. Integration protocol. Once the final threshold is crossed, the recruit is assigned their single operational role, operator, runner, watchman, and their formal integration begins. 1. Role assignment. The new member is immediately assigned their specific restricted duties, sections 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and begins training on the required technical protocols, e.g., dead drop signaling, encrypted radio bursts, or surveillance detection routes. 2. Information release. The new member is given only the need-to-know information required for their role, the identities of their 2-4 cell members, the location of the cell's secure safe zone, and the recognition phrase for their courier cut out. 3. Perpetual vetting. The vetting protocol does not end. The cell leader and, by extension, the strategic nexus maintain a state of perpetual vetting, constantly monitoring the member's discipline, POL, and compliance. Any future lapse in discipline is treated not as a mistake, but as a potential sign of coercion or compromise, triggering immediate operational shutdown and withdrawal procedures. Network expansion. Based on the principles of compartmentalization, Section 1, and organic recruitment, Section 4.1, scaling from a single cell to multiple cells requires a specific mechanism often called network mitosis or upward referral. The critical rule is that cell A cannot recruit cell B directly, as this would violate horizontal isolation, Section 2.1, and create a chain where cell A knows the identities of cell B. Here is how the expansion works. The expansion mechanism, upward referral. 1. The proposer existing member, a member of the first cell, cell alpha, identifies a potential recruit, e.g., a cousin or trusted colleague who fits the criteria. 2. The prohibition. The member of cell alpha is strictly forbidden from recruiting this person or revealing their own membership. 3. The referral. Instead, the member passes the lead, the name and pattern of life data, up to the nexus, the founder. 4. The parallel approach. The nexus, or a separate vetting cell, approaches the new candidate independently. The candidate is vetted without ever knowing that their cousin in cell alpha suggested them. 5. New seed formation. Once vetted, this new recruit becomes the leader of cell beta. They are instructed to recruit their own organic circle, their own rule of 3. 6. Result. Cell alpha and cell beta both report to the nexus, but they are completely unaware of each other's existence. Detailed example, from 0 to 2 cells. The players. The founder proto-nexus, the person starting the network. Alice, a trusted friend of the founder. David, a trusted cousin of Alice. Phase 1, establishing cell alpha. The founder recruits Alice and 2 others, Bob and Charlie, using the organic recruitment protocol. This forms cell alpha. The founder acts as their cell leader or handler initially. Phase 2, identifying the seed for cell beta. Alice tells the founder, "My cousin David is a mechanic, hates the adversary and is solid. We should bring him in." Critical OPSEC move, the founder tells Alice, "Do not speak to David about this. Do not hint that you are involved, just give me his background info." Phase 3, the parallel approach. The founder, or a cutout acting for the founder, approaches David. They might use a cover story or a cautious ideological probe. If David accepts, he is vetted through the slow roll process. Crucial separation. David is never told that Alice is a member. Alice is never told that David was successfully recruited. Phase 4, establishing cell beta. Once David passes the final threshold, section 4.4, the founder instructs David, "Find 2 people you trust explicitly." David recruits his trusted friends, Eve and Frank. This forms cell beta, David, Eve, Frank. The outcome: cell alpha, Alice, Bob, Charlie exists. Cell beta, David, Eve, Frank exists. Alice and David, cousins, meet for family dinner on Sundays. They both secretly work for the founder, but because of the one-cell world mindset, section 2.1, neither knows the other is an operative. If Alice is captured, she cannot give up David's cell because she strictly believes he was never recruited. 5. Detecting and managing moles, counterintelligence. The goal of this section is to provide protocols for moving from vague suspicion to actionable certainty regarding a security breach. 5.1 The barium meal canary trap, injecting unique false information. The barium meal or canary trap is the definitive test for a suspected leak. It is a controlled experiment designed to exploit the structural integrity of the network's compartmentalization. The medical analogy. In medicine, a barium meal is a substance swallowed to make internal structures visible on an X-ray. In CI, the barium meal is a piece of false, highly specific, and non-actionable information that is made traceable to a single source. If that information appears outside the network, e.g., in a public leak, a government document, or an adversary press release, the source of the leak is immediately and undeniably identified. Construction of the barium meal. The nexus or vetting cell must generate an operational document with unique identifiers, UIDs. These UIDs are subtle, but crucial changes in otherwise identical information. UID placement. The UID should be a variation on a sensitive internal piece of data, such as a mission codename, a planned date, or the specific location of a low-value dead drop. The codename variation example. O to Tactical Cell Alpha via Courier 1. The mission codename is Operation Nightjar G. O to Tactical Cell Beta via Courier 2. The mission codename is Operation Nightjar L. O to Tactical Cell Gamma via Courier 3. The mission codename is Operation Nightjar V. O the core mission is the same, but the unique identifier G, L or V is what matters. The injection and waiting phase. 1. Selection of suspect layer. The nexus identifies a layer of the network, e.g., the cutout layer or a group of tactical cells, that is under suspicion due to recent OPSEC lapses or proximity to a compromised zone. 2. Controlled injection. The false documents, each bearing a unique UID, are distributed to individual members within the suspected layer through their normal pinch point, section 2.2. The mole believes this information is genuine and useful to their handler. 3. The waiting period. The nexus waits for the information to appear in the public domain or in an adversary response. O the leak. If the adversary publishes a bulletin warning citizens about a potential, large-scale protest referred to as Operation Nightjar L, the nexus knows with absolute certainty that the leak originated from the member, or cell, who received that specific codename. Barium meal canary trap, rules of engagement. Non-actionable. The false information must not be sensitive enough to cause genuine harm if it is leaked. Leaking Operation Nightjar L should only expose the mole, not destroy the legitimate, slightly different Operation Nightjar T. Reversible. The mission associated with the barium meal should be simple and easy to cancel or change if the leak is confirmed. The double-blind failure. If the barium meal leaks, it immediately exposes the mole, confirms the adversary has an informant, and most importantly, isolates the location of the compromise, e.g., tactical cell beta. 5.2 Identifying operational security, OPSEC, violations as potential signs of compromise. While the majority of OPSEC violations are the result of indiscipline or carelessness, Section 2, the vetting cell must be trained to recognize specific, subtle deviations that are indicative of deliberate hostile intent or handler instructions. These are not mistakes, they are tells. Digital tells when a mole is pinged by a handler. A handler often needs to confirm the agent's ability to act or verify a security change. These are often accomplished through non-verbal, non-direct means. The digital blip, a trusted member, previously meticulous about digital silence, Section 2.4, suddenly uses their personal, traceable cell phone to access a publicly known, but innocuous website, e.g., a foreign news aggregator, for less than 15 seconds. Interpretation. This is often a sign-in signal. The mole is pinging a server to alert their handler of their availability or location. The short duration ensures no time is spent on browsing, only on generating a traceable metadata timestamp. Geographical drift. A member's POL pattern of life remains consistent, but their phone is suddenly detected 20 feet further away from their normal home location than usual, or at a high-end public cafe for only 5 minutes. Once a month. Interpretation. The mole is being asked to meet their handler or perform a brush pass, and is using their phone to log a location for proof of presence, or the handler is moving the meeting point slightly. This is an intentional deviation from an established baseline. Physical procedural tells when a mole is prepping for a task. These are deviations from the strict protocols that benefit the adversary's surveillance capabilities. The preemptive scan. A cell leader is observed performing their surveillance detection route, SDR, Section 3.2, too effectively or too often before a high-value drop, without being ordered to do so or when the drop is low risk. Interpretation. The mole is being pressured by their handler to guarantee the location is secure for the handler's sake, not the network's. The handler may be planning to observe the exchange. The convenient lapse. A runner courier, who usually demands strict adherence to the cutout protocol, Section 2.3, suddenly suggests a more convenient meeting time or drop location that is geographically closer to a known adversary surveillance hub, or suggests omitting the recognition phrase to save time. Interpretation. The mole is attempting to lure a higher value target, the cell leader or the package, into a zone where the adversary has pre-staged assets. Data redundancy. An operator, Section 3.3, insists on making an unnecessary backup copy of raw intelligence before handing it to the cell leader for destruction and encryption. Interpretation. The mole wants a separate, untraceable copy of the intelligence to give to their handler, independent of the official network channel. 5.3 Protocols for the immediate isolation and containment of a suspected mole. Once a barium meal confirms a leak, or the cumulative OPSEC tells reach a critical threshold, the suspected member must be immediately put on red light status and isolated. The goal is to contain the damage and, if possible, exploit the breach. Step 1. Immediate red light status containment. The moment suspicion reaches the nexus, the following actions are executed instantly. 1. Communication blackout. The suspected member's communication link, their cell leader or immediate handler, is immediately terminated. No new tasks are issued. All communication is cut off. 2. Information freeze. All new sensitive information flow to the entire cell is stopped. The cell receives only low-value busywork tasks or are put on stand-down. 3. Passive surveillance nexus-led. A dedicated CI team or the vetting cell is assigned to initiate passive, non-detectable surveillance on the mole. The goal is to track their POL to identify their handler or the adversary's point of contact. No attempt is made to directly confront the mole. Step 2. The coercion versus ideology decision matrix. The nexus must determine the mole's motivation. The containment strategy depends on this analysis. Mole motivation indicators / psychological markers management strategy. Coercion compromise preferred, sudden financial health Section 4.3, excessive anxiety, unexplained absences, reluctance to take high-risk tasks, isolation and protection. Treat them as a victim. Determine what the adversary is threatening and secure the threat, e.g. move their family. attempt to turn the mole back against their handler. Ideological infiltration, worst-case eagerness to violate compartmentalization, probing questions about the nexus, flawless cover, no financial anomalies, they are paid by the state, immediate and total isolation. Assume all information they touched is compromised. The priority shifts to deep OPSEC cleanup of their entire cell and the immediate destruction of their handler's link. Step 3, the isolation phase, the holding pattern. The mole is left in a holding pattern, believing operations are simply slow. Their own cell leader is the nexus's only contact and is given the cover story. The mole is given a low-level, continuous, non-critical task, e.g., organizing old documents, cleaning the safe house. This keeps them busy and allows the CI team to observe them for anxiety. The test of time. If the mole is working for a handler, the handler will get impatient when the intelligence stops flowing. The mole will soon be pressured to find out why the network has gone quiet. This impatience will result in an OPSEC violation, section 5.2, as the mole tries to ping the handler or the nexus. This proves the mole is acting under external direction. Step 4, neutralization or turning, the final act. The final stage is either neutralizing the threat or converting it into an asset. Neutralization, ideological mole. The nexus must break contact permanently. The mole is simply left on standby indefinitely, cut off from all information flow, but not physically harmed. The entire cell structure around them is burned and rebuilt. The mole loses their value to the adversary when they have no information to report. Turning, coerced mole. If the mole is coerced, the nexus offers them a safer, more comprehensive protection package than the adversary can offer. The mole is converted into a double agent, feeding false or controlled information back to their handler under nexus supervision. This is the highest CI payoff, turning a liability into a tactical weapon. 5.4 Psychological markers of a handler-agent relationship. A mole is not merely a spy. They are a double agent managing two hostile relationships. This immense psychological load generates specific, recognizable markers that can be detected through persistent observation and intimate knowledge of the members. Baseline POL, the cell leader must act as the primary psychological detector. The anxiety and stress profile, the new baseline. The constant fear of being exposed by either the network or the handler creates unique stress points. Excessive compliance and flawlessness. The mole overperforms to mask their guilt. They become obsessively precise about low-value tasks and may be the only person in the cell who flawlessly adheres to every minor OPSEC detail, compensating for their major, hidden betrayal. Example, a mole might be overly meticulous about wiping down a dead Dropbox to leave no prints, while simultaneously using a traceable foreign SIM card for their handler. The overperformance is a cover. Hypervigilance versus apathy cycles. The mole experiences intense periods of hypervigilance, checking for surveillance, being jumpy immediately after meeting their handler, followed by deep apathy or burnout when the threat has passed. These cycles do not align with the network's operational rhythm, but with the handler's schedule. Unexplained mood shifts. Sudden, dramatic shifts in temperament or political conviction that do not match the environment. A mole might suddenly become aggressively pessimistic about the resistance. We can never win. A verbal cue designed to justify their compromise to themselves or their handler. Deviations in the pattern of life POL, the handler's schedule. The handler controls the mole's schedule, forcing deviations from the established, boring POL section 2. The vague appointment. The mole begins scheduling regular, yet vague personal appointments in their cover life, e.g., visiting an old relative, seeing the dentist. These are often cover stories for meeting the handler, performing a brush pass, or servicing a communication link. The vagueness prevents the cell leader from asking follow-up questions. New sudden hobbies. The mole adopts a new complicated hobby, e.g., amateur radio, competitive jogging, birdwatching, that requires specific, traceable gear and long, solitary excursions. Interpretation. The hobby is often a cover for action, CFA required by the handler to justify meeting times, carry gear, or travel to remote dead drop locations. The adversary often supplies these hobbies to their agents. Unsolicited gifts possessions. The mole appears with new, expensive, or unusual items that do not fit their established financial baseline, section 4.3. A new watch, a new vehicle, or an upgraded wardrobe. Even if the item is small, if it is paid for by cash or a sudden debt payoff, it must be flagged. Managing the relationship with the suspected mole. The cell leader's primary job is to normalize the suspicion. The cell leader must never show doubt or anger. They should treat the mole's OPSEC lapses as burnout and offer minor psychological support or rest rather than professional reprimand. The final observation: if the cell leader is ordered to place the mole on standby, step 3, the cell leader should observe the mole's reaction. A genuine member will be disappointed and ask for a definite return date. A mole whose income or coercion is tied to intelligence delivery will show disproportionate panic or urgency, often resulting in an immediate OPSEC violation to contact their handler. This is the final confirmation of active compromise. Part III, Communications and Technology OPSEC Tradecraft. 6. The principle of air gaps and digital silence. In the modern operational environment, every resistance network must operate under the assumption that the adversary has achieved near-perfect data collection on all standard communication vectors, mobile phones, public Wi-Fi, email banking systems. Consequently, reliance on encryption alone is insufficient. Encryption protects the content, the what, but does not protect the metadata, the who, when, and where. The principle of air gaps and digital silence mandates that the network prioritizes the security of the metadata by isolating sensitive activities from all electronic communication infrastructure. Defining the air gap. An air gap is a conceptual and physical security measure where a secure network, or device, is isolated from all unsecured networks, most crucially, the public internet and cellular networks. This gap must be literal, a space of air often protected by physical security measures. The adversary's primary methodology is to exploit a single, small vulnerability, e.g., a momentary Wi-Fi connection, to implant surveillance software, or to use metadata tracking to connect the identity of the user to the sensitive operation. The air gap defeats this by making the attack vector physically impossible. Core air gap tenets. 1. Never connected. Any device used for high-value tasks, e.g., encryption, decryption, document storage, ledger maintenance, must never at any point in its operational lifetime be connected to Wi-Fi, cellular networks, or any port that has previously hosted an internet connection. 2. Unidirectional data flow. Data transfer must only occur via secured physical media, e.g., new, sealed USB drives or secure microSD cards, and only from the unsecured environment to the air-gapped system, e.g., loading a document to be encrypted. Data should never move from the secure system back to a public system unless absolutely necessary, and only via a strictly controlled high-risk protocol. The discipline of digital silence. Digital silence is the behavioral component of the air gap. It is the mandatory discipline of creating zero digital trace of sensitive activities. The zero trace mandate: no meeting, no dead drop exchange, and no sensitive planning session may generate a new digital signature. No phone call, no text message, no location ping, and no traceable purchase, like a bus ticket bought with a traceable card. The POL protection. Digital silence ensures that the adversary cannot distinguish between a highly sensitive operational day and a highly mundane, innocuous day in the life of a network member. The routine must be digitally boring, thereby protecting the member's established pattern of life, POL. 6.1 Device hygiene. The concept of clean versus dirty devices. Given the pervasiveness of surveillance technology, no single device can be trusted to handle both personal and operational data. Device hygiene demands the creation of strict, non-negotiable categories of devices, ensuring that compromised systems can never interact with clean systems. The dirty device, the DEC. A dirty device is any tool or communication system used for personal, civilian life. These are assumed to be compromised or under continuous surveillance by the adversary. Category: personal smartphones, home computers, traceable credit debit cards, smart watches and home Wi-Fi routers. Purpose: to create a credible but innocuous digital footprint for the member's cover identity, section 2.4. This device is the DEC. It must be active, communicating about mundane subjects and providing a plausible, boring POL for the adversary to track. Prohibitions of: never use a dirty device to store, process, or transmit sensitive information. Never bring a dirty device to an operational meeting, the Faraday Protocol, Section 6.3. Never access any secure account or password associated with the network. The clean device, the air-gapped tool. A clean device is any tool designated for operational use only. It is the ultimate container of sensitive information. Category: dedicated low-power laptops used only for encryption-decryption, refurbished or new phones used exclusively for prepaid SIM card communication, burner phones, and dedicated storage media, USB, SD cards. Security posture: clean devices must be air-gapped, Section 6. Their storage should be entirely encrypted, and they should be stored in a physical secure location, e.g., a hidden metal-lined container that prevents signal leakage. The burner mentality: operational devices and communication methods must be treated as disposable. Burner phones, used with prepaid untraceable SIM cards purchased with cash, never linked to an identity. These phones must only be powered on when absolutely necessary, and always away from the user's home or workplace. After a limited number of uses, the burn cycle, Section 3.2, the phone, the SIM card, and the battery are physically destroyed and replaced. Burner laptops, used for secure operations only. They should be wiped and re-imaged with a clean, verified operating system, e.g. Tails Linux, after every major operation or security scare. Example: the fatal flaw of convenience. A cell leader uses their personal dirty laptop to briefly check the encrypted messages received from their courier, clean device. Compromise vector: the dirty laptop, already compromised by adversary surveillance software, immediately records the contents of the encrypted file, or more likely, records the timestamp of the access and the unique hardware signature of the clean device as it connected via USB. The adversary now has the metadata link between the cell leader's POL and the secure operation. Mixing clean and dirty is an immediate catastrophic OPSEC violation. 6.2 Metadata is the enemy, understanding the data trail. Metadata, the data about the data, is the adversary's most powerful weapon against a compartmentalized network. While we prioritize strong encryption for the content, the adversary relies on analyzing the easily collectible, unencrypted metadata to map the network structure, who talks to whom, and identify sensitive activity, when and where they meet. The reality: the adversary doesn't need to know what you said, only that you said it. The compromise of timestamps and frequency. The time and frequency of communication is often more revealing than the content. Routine exposure: a routine digital interaction, e.g. a daily 7:00 p.m. encrypted chat, instantly creates a predictable vulnerability. The adversary doesn't need to decrypt the chat. They only need to know that at 7:00 p.m. daily, two specific devices physically meet or communicate. This allows them to stage physical surveillance at the time of the meeting. The anomaly of silence: the sudden synchronized cessation of communication between two members followed by a physical meeting is a massive red flag. The adversary's algorithm notes: normal 10 texts day, event 0 texts for 3 days, result: subject A and B meet at a public park. The algorithm concludes: a sensitive non-digital event occurred between the silence and the meeting. The compromise of location and proximity data. Location data is gathered passively and continuously by the cellular network and public Wi-Fi access points, even when a phone is not in active use. The collocation tell: if two devices, device A and device B, belonging to two members who are supposed to be horizontally isolated, Section 2.1, are detected together at the same time and location, co-located, for a period of 15 minutes or more, the firewall between the cells is compromised. This is proof of direct intercell contact. The home base trace: a burner phone intended for operational use is activated 10 times in 1 month. On 9 of those occasions, the device is logged by a cellular tower that is in the precise vicinity of the user's home or workplace. The 10th time, the phone is used to coordinate a dead drop. The adversary's algorithm has already established the user's identity based on the first 9 events, rendering the 10th operation compromised. Burner phones must never be used near any known POL location. See the network topology mapping. The adversary uses metadata to recreate the network's organizational chart without capturing a single message. The hub and spoke model: If a single device, the courier's phone, is shown to communicate frequently with 5 other isolated devices, 5 cell leaders' phones, the adversary immediately knows that this single device is the pinch point or central hub. Regardless of the encryption used, the organizational structure is exposed, and the hub becomes the highest priority target for capture or coercion. Countermeasure: this must be countered by distributing the courier role across multiple individuals and constantly rotating the communication devices used at the pinch point, burn cycles. 6.3 The total ban on personal electronic devices during tactical meetings, the Faraday Protocol. The greatest and most common security violation is the presence of a dirty device during a sensitive, non-digital meeting. The Faraday Protocol is the absolute rule governing all physical non-digital interactions, ensuring that sensitive information is never leaked via passive electronic surveillance. The protocol requirement: physical isolation. All personal electronic devices, phones, smartwatches, tracking fobs, laptops, and even electronic car keys, which contain tracking chips, must be physically isolated from the meeting location. 1. Mandatory collection. All meeting participants must surrender their devices upon arrival. 2. The Faraday container. All collected devices must be placed into a Faraday container. This is a sealed box, bag, or room lined with a conductive material, e.g., aluminum mesh or copper foil, that blocks all electromagnetic signals, cellular, Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth. Purpose: the container prevents the devices from passively logging the meeting location via GPS or activating their microphones in response to a remote command from the adversary. 3. Remote storage. The Faraday container must then be stored at a distance from the meeting location, e.g., 2 blocks away, locked in a car trunk, or in a separate building. This ensures that even if a device manages to transmit a signal, or if the meeting is bugged, the location data logged by the cellular network will point to the storage location, not the meeting location. The operational rationale: defeating remote activation. The adversary possesses sophisticated technology that can remotely activate the microphones and cameras of powered-off phones, the powered-down compromise. The Faraday Protocol defeats this. Battery removal ideal. If possible, devices should have their batteries removed, guaranteeing total electronic silence. If battery removal is impossible, common with modern phones, the Faraday container is the essential safeguard. Acoustic buffer. By placing the devices far away, the microphone, even if remotely activated, will only record ambient street noise or the sounds of the storage location, not the content of the secure conversation. Example: the infiltration of a safe house. A tactical cell holds a planning meeting in a secure, pre-vetted safe house. A member, under coercion, section 5.3, intentionally leaves their phone turned off, but inside their coat pocket within the meeting room. Compromise: the adversary sends a silent, non-ringing command to the phone, activating its microphone. The adversary records the full planning session, the voices of all members for later voice recognition, and the environmental sounds, which could be used to confirm the location. The phone generates no new metadata, making the compromise invisible. Protocol solution: if the Faraday Protocol had been enforced, the phone would have been 2 blocks away, recording only the sounds of the city street, and providing a false location ping, leaving the meeting secure. The Faraday Protocol is the non-negotiable insurance policy against all forms of close-range electronic surveillance. 7. Physical communication protocols. Physical communication is the backbone of a secure, compartmentalized network. Unlike digital methods, physical communication generates zero network metadata and is resilient against remote attack. It is the only secure method for transferring the strategic mandates and raw intelligence. Success depends entirely on rigorous discipline in 3 interconnected protocols: dead drops, signal sites, and surveillance detection routes, SDRs. 7.1 Dead drops. Selecting, preparing, and utilizing concealed physical locations. A dead drop is a concealed, prearranged, inanimate physical location used for the non-reciprocal exchange of items, messages, gear, money, between a sender and a receiver. The exchange is non-reciprocal because the 2 parties never meet, see each other, or interact. The dead drop is the pinch point, section 2.2 of physical communication. Criteria for dead drop selection, the 4 S's. The nexus or vetting cell is responsible for identifying and vetting all dead drop locations based on 4 essential criteria. 1. Security, lowest risk of discovery. The location must be physically secure from casual discovery, e.g., not a mailbox that is regularly opened by mail carriers, or a hole that is often used by animals. It must offer tamper-evident qualities. A misplaced item should be immediately obvious. Example of poor security, a loose brick in a residential wall. If the adversary spots the drop, they can simply swap the message for a rigged one. Example of good security, a small drilled space deep inside the supporting structure of an old abandoned bridge pier, requiring a specialized tool, the key to access. 2. Subtlety, blending with the environment. The drop must be located in an area where the act of placing or retrieving an item can be camouflaged as a routine, innocuous civilian action, a cover for action, or CFA. The courier's POL deviation must be minimal and justifiable. Example of poor subtlety, a quiet forest where any human presence is immediately noticeable and suspicious. Example of good subtlety, the underside of a public payphone, now rare, but still plausible in a high-traffic urban square, where dozens of people pass by every minute. The courier can legitimately stop, tie a shoe, and retrieve the item in 3 seconds without raising physical suspicion. 3. Stability, environmental resilience. The drop must be protected from weather, accidental damage, and seasonal changes. A drop should not be in a location that might be covered by snow in winter or require swimming through floodwater in the spring. 4. Simplicity, ease of access. The drop must be easily and quickly accessible, minimizing the time the courier cell leader is exposed at the location. The entire exchange, retrieval, deposit should take less than 15 seconds. Complicated maneuvers increase exposure to fixed surveillance. Preparation and utilization protocol. 1. Cleaning the drop. Before a new message is placed, the previous message and container must be retrieved, if applicable, and the area must be wiped clean of any physical residue, fibers, or fingerprints. The drop is then secured, e.g., the brick replaced, the magnetic box re-adhered. 2. The drop box. Items are never dropped loosely. They must be sealed in a small, waterproof, non-metallic container, e.g., a pill bottle, a sealed vacuum bag that is slightly pressurized. The internal pressure acts as a crude tamper-evident seal. If the bag loses pressure, the receiver knows the drop has been breached. 3. Non-reciprocal exchange. The sender places the item and leaves. The receiver arrives later, hours or days later, and retrieves the item. They must never overlap. This maintains the vertical isolation and prevents both individuals from being compromised by a single adversary surveillance team. 4. Immediate destruction. Once the courier retrieves a message package from dead drop A, the external container is destroyed immediately after leaving the dead drop vicinity, e.g., thrown into a public waste container blocks away. 7.2 Signal sites. Non-verbal communication to indicate status. A signal site is a public, inanimate object used exclusively for binary, yes-no, status updates. It provides the non-digital trigger, section 2.3, that tells the receiving party to proceed with a dead drop exchange, or that an exchange has been completed and is safe. It is the key to defeating the adversary's reliance on predictive surveillance. The 2 critical signals. 1. The activation signal, go, tells the courier cell leader that a message is ready at the dead drop, and they must execute the exchange protocol immediately. Example, a specific, easily visible but innocuous marker, a small, specific colored sticker, a piece of unique colored string, is placed on the signal site, e.g., inside the corner of a bus timetable. The absence of the marker means stand down, its presence means GO. 2. The all-clear completion signal, safe. This is a secondary critical signal used by the receiver of a message after they have successfully retrieved the item. It informs the sender, and by extension, the nexus, that the message was received without incident. Example, the cell leader successfully retrieves the mission package. The next day, on their routine way to work, they make a subtle, prearranged alteration to a different signal site, e.g., moving a specific flower pot in a public display 1 inch to the left. This signal means message received, route secure. Rules for signal site placement and execution. Location. Signal sites must be highly visible and situated on the courier's agent's established pattern of life, POL route. They must be checkable without a major deviation from the POL, e.g., on the way to the bus stop, walking the dog. The unseen hand rule crucial. The person who sets the signal, the setter, must be a completely separate entity from the courier cell leader and the nexus. Rationale. If the setter is captured, they can only confirm the time and location of the signal site. They have no knowledge of the dead drop location, the courier's identity, or the message content. This enforces extreme vertical isolation on the activation process. Variability. Signals must be changed frequently, e.g., the color of the sticker, the location of the flower pot, to prevent the adversary from identifying the system through long-term passive observation. 7.3 Physical Surveillance Detection Routes (SDRs), techniques for observing and evading tails. The Surveillance Detection Route (SDR) is a mandatory practiced route designed to uncover if a member is being followed, tailed, by the adversary's mobile surveillance teams before they access a dead drop or attend a meeting. SDRs are the proactive defense against physical compromise. The principle of the unexpected turn. The foundation of a successful SDR is unpredictability and the creation of pinch points where surveillance cannot follow without being exposed. The courier agent must never use a direct route to the operational site. The SDR must be woven into their POL to mask its purpose. The 3 turns rule. During an SDR, the agent must make at least 3 sharp, unexpected turns, e.g., turning left into a narrow alley, then immediately right into a crowded market, then reversing direction and walking back. Purpose. A professional surveillance team cannot replicate this without exposing themselves by either speeding, running, or appearing out of breath directly behind the agent. A casual tail will be instantly lost. The transit switch. The agent uses at least 2 modes of transport that are difficult to follow, e.g., taking an express bus for 1 stop, then immediately switching to a taxi, then suddenly getting out and using an underground subway. Purpose. This forces the mobile surveillance team to engage in high-risk maneuvers, running red lights, jumping subway turnstiles that violate their own OPSEC, or forces them to split up and risk losing the target. Detection techniques for fixed and mobile surveillance. The agent must be aware of the tells of professional surveillance, which are usually subtle inconsistencies. Surveillance type detection technique mole marker, section 5.2. Mobile the tail, the jump the queue test, enter a busy shop or transit line, then immediately stop or reverse direction. A tail will either overshoot or be forced to stop directly behind you. A mole's tail will be too disciplined and will use a complex CFA to avoid the confrontation, indicating professional handling. Fix the stakeout, the accidental glance test. Walk past the area, look at the ground and register details, e.g. a specific vehicle, a person reading a book, only using peripheral vision. Circle back 15 minutes later. If the vehicle or person is in the exact same position, the area is under fixed surveillance. A mole will avoid fixed surveillance areas without being told to, or will give the area excessive scrutiny, the preemptive scan. Technical the device check. Turn off the phone for 5 minutes during the SDR, then turn it back on. If surveillance is present, the phone's performance may lag or show an unusual burst of activity as it logs the missing data. A mole will never turn their phone off or will show excessive anxiety when asked to turn their phone off during the SDR. SDR rules of engagement, the courier mandate. 1. No direct access. Never proceed directly to the dead drop or meeting point. The SDR must precede the operational act. 2. The abort signal. If the SDR reveals a confirmed or high probability tail, the SDR is immediately terminated. The courier agent returns to their secure base, and the operation is postponed for at least 72 hours. An aborted run is always a security victory. 3. The no confrontation rule. The agent's purpose is detection and evasion, never confrontation. If a tail is confirmed, do not look them in the eye or acknowledge their presence. The agent must simply vanish into a public place, e.g., a crowded mall, a train station, and then execute a secure withdrawal. By implementing these rigorous physical protocols, the network shifts the operational burden from the secure, static nexus to the exposed, mobile agent, forcing the adversary to rely on costly, difficult-to-maintain physical surveillance, which is a slow and non-scalable method of attack. 8.1 Encryption versus steganography, hiding in plain sight. The adversary's deep packet inspection (DPI) tools can identify encrypted traffic. A PGP encrypted email or a signal message stands out as a block of randomized data. In a tick environment, simply using encryption marks you as a target. Therefore, we must move beyond protection and into obfuscation. The vulnerability of overt encryption. If you send an encrypted file to a known associate, the adversary cannot read the file, but they know 1. That you sent it. 2. Who received it. 3. The exact time and size of the transmission. This is enough to warrant an interrogation. Give us the key or go to prison. Steganography, the art of invisible ink. Steganography is the practice of concealing a message within another, non-secret file. Unlike encryption, which screams "I am a secret," steganography says "I am a picture of a cat." Technical mechanism. Least significant bit (LSB) modification. Digital images are made of pixels, and each pixel is defined by numerical values, red, green, blue. Changing the last bit of a pixel's color value, e.g., changing a red value from 254 to 255, makes a change so microscopic that the human eye cannot detect it, but a computer can. The carrier, a high-resolution JPEG or PNG image, e.g., a landscape, a meme, a product photo. The payload, the encrypted message file. The process, the payload is injected into the LSBs of the carrier image. Operational use, the public forum drop. Steganography allows for public dead drops. Instead of sending a file directly to a recipient, which links sender and receiver, the sender posts the steganographic image to a public forum. The protocol. 1. Encryption first. The message is always encrypted first, using one-time pads, see 8.2. Steganography hides the existence of the message. Encryption protects the content if the hiding place is discovered. 2. The platform. Select a high-traffic public platform that does not strip metadata or recompress images aggressively, e.g., certain fan forums, Usenet groups, or specific file repositories. Avoid major social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, as their compression algorithms often destroy the hidden LSB data. 3. The post. The sender creates a burner account and posts the image with an innocuous caption, e.g., selling this vintage toaster, see photos. 4. The retrieval. The receiver, monitoring the forum from a non-associated IP address, downloads the image. 5. The extraction. The receiver uses the agreed-upon steganography tool, air-gapped, to extract the payload from the image. Result: to the adversary, the sender posted a photo of a toaster, and the receiver viewed a web page. There is no direct digital link between them, and no encrypted data flag was raised. 8.2. The use of mathematically unbreakable one-time pads, OTP. Modern algorithmic encryption, AES, RSA, relies on the computational difficulty of factoring large numbers. Given enough time and computing power or a quantum computer, they can be broken. In a long-term asymmetric conflict, we rely on the only system that is theoretically impossible to break, even with infinite computing power, the one-time pad, OTP. The mathematical theory. OTP uses a key that is 1. Truly random, not computer-generated pseudo-randomness. 2. At least as long as the message. 3. Used exactly once and then destroyed. When these conditions are met, the ciphertext reveals absolutely no information about the plaintext. If the adversary attempts to brute force the key, they will generate every possible readable message of that length, with no way to know which is the correct one. Example: brute forcing a 5-letter OTP ciphertext, XMCKL might yield hello, BOMBS, lunch, and peace. All are equally mathematically probable. Creation of the pad, the hardest part. Computers cannot generate true randomness. A predictable key is a fatal flaw. Pads must be generated via physical entropy. Dice method, rolling 10-sided dice, 0-9, thousands of times to generate a string of numbers. Atmospheric noise, using specialized hardware radios to capture static. Formatting, the key is grouped into blocks of 5 characters for readability. 2 identical copies are made, one for the sender, one for the receiver. The operation modulo arithmetic. To encrypt, the sender converts the message letters to numbers, A equals 0, B equals 1, Z equals 25, and adds them to the key numbers. Message H7. Key x 23. Math 7 plus 23 equals 30. Modulo 26, 30 26 equals 4. Ciphertext E4. To decrypt, the receiver subtracts the key from the ciphertext. Math 4e 23x equals. Modulo 26, plus 26 equals 7. Plaintext H. Distribution and destruction. 1. Physical exchange. The pads, stored on tiny microSD cards or printed on dissolvable paper, must be exchanged physically via a high-security dead drop, section 7.1. They can never be sent digitally. 2. The sync. The sender and receiver agree on which page block to use, e.g., use block 543 for the next message. 3. Immediate destruction. The moment a page of the key is used to encrypt or decrypt a message, that page must be physically destroyed, burned, or shredded, bleached. Oh, the reuse catastrophe. If a key is used twice, the two-time pad, the adversary can overlay the two ciphertexts and mathematically cancel out the key, revealing both messages. Never reuse a pad. 8.3 Managing digital identities. Compartmentalized. A member's real self, civilian ID, must never digitally interact with their operational self, ghost ID. The three-layer identity model. Layer 1, the civilian dirty. Device, personal smartphone, home PC. Behavior, normal social media, banking, shopping, family emails. Goal, maintain a consistent, boring pattern of life POL. This identity must exhibit normal digital noise. Total silence is suspicious. Layer 2, the grey user, research privacy. Device, a clean OS, e.g., a Linux partition or a specific hardened browser. Behavior, reading news, privacy advocacy, researching general topics. Network, always accessed via a trusted paid VPN, paid anonymously. Goal, to access information without it being directly tied to the civilian ISP log, but without engaging in illegal activity. Layer 3, the ghost operational. Device, air-gapped machine, Tails OS, the amnesic incognito live system, booted from USB. Network, Tor network bridged through a stealth VPN or public Wi-Fi far from home. Behavior, accessing steganographic drops using OTP tools, communicating with the Nexus. Goal, invisibility. This identity exists only for minutes at a time and has no name, no history, and no link to Layer 1. Managing burner accounts. A burner, email or forum account is only secure if its creation was secure. 1. Creation hygiene. The account must be created using the ghost setup Tails Tor. 2. No cross-contamination. Never verify a burner account with a personal phone number. Use virtual SMS services paid for with cryptocurrency mixed through tumblers, or simply use platforms that do not require phone verification. 3. Access hygiene. Never log into a ghost account from a civilian device. Browser fingerprinting, screen resolution, installed fonts, battery level can link an anonymous login to a specific civilian laptop. The virtual private network VPN trap. Commercial VPNs are potential honeypots. The adversary can subpoena VPN providers or run their own fake VPN companies. Rule: never trust a VPN with Layer 3 ghost traffic. The chain, use Tor over VPN. 1. Connect to VPN, masks usage from ISP. 2. Launch Tor, masks destination from VPN. 3. This ensures the ISP sees only encrypted VPN traffic, and the VPN sees only encrypted Tor traffic. Neither sees the final destination or the content. Part IV, Personal and Cultural Security. The technological and structural defenses detailed in Parts III are only as strong as the individuals who uphold them. In a total information control (TIC) environment, the adversary seeks to exploit the human being, their psychological vulnerabilities, their deviation from routine, and their financial transactions. This part details the self-discipline necessary to maintain a secure pattern of life (POL), manage the extreme psychological burden of operational life, and neutralize the adversary's financial surveillance tools. 9. The pattern of life POL and cover management. The pattern of life is the single most valuable piece of metadata the adversary collects. It is the automated, data-driven profile of an individual's movements, habits, social contacts, and consumption habits. Any deviation from the established POL, the anomaly, triggers an automated system alert, shifting surveillance from passive data collection to active human investigation. The core task of every operator is to maintain a clean POL that renders their existence cryptographically dull. 9.1 The art of being boring, maintaining an innocuous and predictable routine. The adversary does not look for suspicious behavior, they look for change. Therefore, security is achieved not through secrecy, but through consistency. The rule of consistency, the loop and the grind. Your cover story must not be exciting or complex, it must be monotonous and verifiable. The physical loop, establish a fixed, repetitive daily schedule that rarely varies. Commute, use the same route, the same public transit, or drive at the same speed. Deviate only on established, non-operational days, e.g., Saturday is shopping day. Work/cover job, maintain steady, verifiable employment that provides a logical justification for your movements, e.g., I work 9 to 5, and the adversary can confirm my batch scans and network usage logs. Public places, frequent the same local, nondescript locations, one coffee shop, one grocery store at consistent times. The social loop, negative space, your social life must be deliberately boring and non-political. Prohibition, absolutely no involvement in public activism, political discussions or protests, even as a civilian. Social media persona, if you maintain a social media presence, it must be entirely focused on mundane hobbies, gardening, sports, non-critical television, and contain zero political opinions or commentary. This maintains a believable digital fingerprint that does not indicate high-risk engagement. Managing anomalies, justifying deviations. Every operational task is, by definition, an anomaly that must be justified. The pre-planned justification, operational movements must be masked by a pre-planned, plausible cover event. Example. If a courier needs to execute a 90-minute SDR followed by a dead drop at a specific geographical pinch point, the cover story must be meeting my old friend, known associate from the dirty POL, for dinner at the neighborhood near the drop, or picking up a specialized tool I ordered from a shop in that district. The 30-minute buffer. Always incorporate a 30-minute buffer into the beginning and end of any operational movement. This accounts for surveillance detection, unforeseen delays, and eliminates the telltale rush that signifies an attempt to meet a hard deadline. The innocuous anomaly, maintain plausible reasons for benign, unscheduled deviations. Example, random, short walks to a local park, visiting a family member who is not in the cell, or taking a minor detour on a commute to buy a snack. These provide noise in the data profile, making the real deviations less obvious against a background of low-level randomness. 9.2 Managing stress and psychological load under constant surveillance. The emotional and psychological toll of maintaining a false identity and living under constant surveillance is the second greatest threat to the network, second only to the two-time pad. Psychological erosion leads to OPSEC violations, poor judgment, and susceptibility to compromise, coercion, or infiltration. The adversary's psychological warfare. The adversary knows that long-term, low-level stress fractures human discipline. The state creates a perpetual low-frequency pressure cooker to induce carelessness, sudden, random police checks, network throttling, false legal notices, or surveillance that is just obvious enough to cause paranoia but too subtle to confirm. The stress indicators matrix self-assessment. Every cell member must regularly and truthfully assess their own psychological state. Any score indicating high or critical stress must immediately trigger the Mandatory Rotation Protocol, MRP, C92D. Indicator low risk, green, high risk, yellow, critical risk, red. Sleep consistent 7-8 hours, waking refreshed, insomnia, nightmares or reliance on sleep aids, 3+ nights week, waking panic attacks, inability to sleep for 48+ hours. Temper/irritability, stable, manageable reactions, short fuse, unwarranted hostility toward loved ones, colleagues, uncontrollable rage, suicidal ideation, or emotional numbness. Appetite/substance regular, healthy eating, no increase in vice usage, Sudden, drastic change in eating habits, heavy reliance on alcohol drugs to come down. Operational tasks are performed while intoxicated or impaired. Paranoia/vigilance SDR performed correctly. Vigilance is task-specific, fixed gaze on certain windows cars, discussing surveillance openly with non-operators, inability to leave home, believing inanimate objects are bugged, loss of contact with reality. See the protocol for stress discharge, the trusted link. Stress cannot be suppressed. It must be discharged through secure channels that maintain compartmentalization. 1. The single confidant. The only person an operator may share emotional burden with is their direct cell leader, and only on the basis of emotional state, never operational details. The cell leader must accept this burden as part of their function. 2. Physical outlet. Use non-digital, non-social outlets, intensive exercise demanding hobbies, woodworking, painting, or long, solitary walks in remote, non-operational areas. These activities provide necessary mental friction that distracts the brain from the operational loop. 3. The professional DEEC. If professional help is required, seek a therapist or counselor who operates in a distant jurisdiction and use only the grey user identity, 8.3. The therapy should focus exclusively on the stresses of the cover life, e.g. job pressure, family issues, never the operational reality. D. Operational burnout and mandatory rotation protocol, MRP. If an operator reaches the yellow or red risk level, the cell leader must enact the MRP. 1. Immediate isolation. The operator is immediately removed from all tactical duties, communication access, and key material handling. 2. Cover reinforcement. The operator is sent on a plausible vacation or family emergency trip to a secure, remote location, the safe haven for a mandatory period of 30 days. This reinforces the cover story while isolating the compromised individual. 3. Full revetting. Upon return, the operator undergoes a full revetting process. 4. To ensure they were not compromised during their stress-induced absence. Failure to comply with the MRP is grounds for immediate, permanent severance from the network. 9.3 Financial OPSEC. Avoiding suspicious transactions or large, sudden purchases. Financial records are the adversary's most organized, permanent, and accessible weapon. The entire modern financial system is a universal ledger, TIC, designed to track, flag, and report all deviations from a person's financial POL. Secure, opposition operatives must become financially transparent and dull. A. The core threat, the ledger and the anomaly engine. The adversary's financial monitoring engine, the anomaly engine, focuses on 3 criteria. 1. Sudden influx-outflow, any large transaction outside the historical average. 2. Geographic disconnect, transactions occurring far outside the established POL, e.g., a card usage in a foreign country or remote city without a travel record. 3. Thematic concentration, purchases that suggest operational activity, e.g. bulk purchase of two-way radios, identical burner phones, or large volumes of specific chemicals. B. The protocol of zero digital cash flow for operational activities. No operational expense, be it for a dead drop container, a burner phone, or travel, may ever be executed via a traceable digital method, credit card, debit card, digital payment app, bank transfer. Cash is king, but limited. All operational expenses must be paid in cash. However, large cash withdrawals immediately create an anomaly. O. Drip feed withdrawal. Financial needs for operations must be met by withdrawing small, consistent amounts of cash, e.g. $100, $200, on a fixed day, e.g., every Tuesday over a long period. These withdrawals must be blended into the cover life's justification, e.g., this is my weekly allowance for lunches and entertainment. O. Never a single source. Operational funds must never come from a single large deposit. Funds must be trickled in from various low-risk justified sources, e.g. small legal sales of personal items, minor side gig income that is reported. See financial cover maintenance and red flags. 1. Maintain your credit score. Surprisingly, maintaining a normal, healthy credit rating is essential. A sudden, unexplained collapse in financial health is a massive anomaly that signals distress, flight risk, or coercion. A high-risk operative should appear financially stable. 2. The ban on bulk purchases. Do not purchase multiple identical items, e.g., 5 shovels, 10 identical hats, 3 copies of a specific book in one transaction, even with cash. This triggers the thematic concentration flag. If supplies are needed, they must be purchased one at a time, over a period of weeks, in geographically distinct stores. 3. Third-party transactions. All rent, utilities, and cover life bills must be paid from the operative's own dirty bank account. Failure to manage a normal traceable life signals to the adversary that the funds are coming from an external unknown source, the network. 4. No interoperator funds. Absolutely zero electronic money transfer, e.g. Venmo, PayPal, bank transfer, between any two individuals who share a cell or a pinch point. This creates an immediate trackable metadata link that ties the network together. The human being is the most powerful weapon of the resistance, but also the weakest link. By enforcing uncompromising personal discipline, through dull routine, psychological self-audit, and financial anonymity, the network makes the adversary's most potent surveillance tools functionally blind. 10. Discipline and security culture. OPSEC is not a checklist, it is a cultural immune system. The most sophisticated encryption and the most elaborate dead drops are rendered useless by human curiosity, vanity, or laxity. The culture of the network must be one of aggressive disinterest in any matter that does not directly concern the specific task at hand. This section outlines the behavioral conditioning required to maintain the network's integrity. 10.1 The Need-to-Know Rule. Training against curiosity. In the civilian world, curiosity is a virtue. In the operational world, it is a liability that kills. The need-to-know principle asserts that information is not a reward for rank or loyalty. It is a burden that should be minimized. Information as toxic waste. Members must be trained to view sensitive information, identities, locations, plans as toxic waste. Possessing it creates risk. The less you hold, the safer you are. The culture of anti-curiosity, asking questions outside of one's specific task mandate, e.g., where did this package come from, or who is the guy in the red hat, must be met with immediate, formal reprimand. A second offense is grounds for dismissal, isolation. Voluntary ignorance. Members should actively avoid learning details they don't need. If a cell leader begins to share unnecessary strategic context, the subordinate is duty-bound to interrupt and say, "I do not need to know this." B. Compartmentalization of success. It is human nature to want to know the result of one's hard work. The void of feedback. An operator who drops a package at a dead drop will likely never know if it was retrieved, what it contained, or what effect it had. Leadership must train members to find satisfaction in the execution of the task, not the outcome. Example, an operator spends 3 nights surveilling a seemingly empty warehouse. They report no activity. They are thanked and dismissed. They never learn that their negative report confirmed the location was safe for a high-value meeting. The operator must accept this void. 10.2 Post-capture protocols, the oath of silence. Capture is a statistical probability in a long asymmetric conflict. Preparation for arrest is as important as the mission itself. The goal of the post-capture protocol is not to prevent interrogation, but to render it useless. The reality of interrogation. Interrogation by a state adversary is rarely about immediate physical torture, which often yields false data. It is about leverage, confusion, and despair. The adversary wants to break the prisoner's will to protect the group. The 48-hour rule. The first 48 hours after capture are the most critical. This is the window where the intelligence held by the prisoner, locations, meeting times, lock codes, is actionable. The primary objective. The prisoner's goal is to stall. Every hour of silence degrades the value of their information. If they can hold out for 48 hours, the network has likely executed its emergency displacement protocols, clearing safe houses, changing codes, rendering the prisoner's knowledge obsolete. B. The oath of silence and the grey rock strategy. Total silence versus managed compliance. Refusing to speak at all often triggers escalation. The preferred method is the grey rock strategy. Be polite, mundane, boring, and unhelpful. The persona. The prisoner projects the persona of a low-level, confused dupe who was just doing a favor for a friend and knows nothing of the wider context. The loop. Repeat the same non-actionable story endlessly. I was paid $50 to leave a bag. I don't know who paid me. He wore a mask. I needed the money for rent. The prepared lie. Every member must have a pre-vetted confession for a lesser crime that explains their presence or possession of gear without revealing the network. Example, an operator caught with lock-picking tools claims to be a burglar, a criminal act, rather than a saboteur, a political act. This shifts the investigation from counter-terrorism to local law enforcement, often resulting in lower scrutiny. See irreversible lines of deniability. The ultimate defense is structural ignorance, Section 2. A prisoner cannot reveal what they do not know. The truthful denial, when the interrogator asks, "Who is your leader?" the prisoner can truthfully answer, "I don't know." This truthfulness registers in body language and voice stress analysis, confounding the interrogator. 10.3 The Protocol for Isolation, Going Dark. The moment a member suspects they are under specific surveillance, or if they have committed a major OPSEC violation, they must initiate the protocol for isolation. This is a self-imposed quarantine to protect the network. Triggers for isolation. Confirmed surveillance, spotting a tail, SDR confirmation. The burned contact, learning that a known associate or family member has been detained. Technical anomalies, persistent echoing on phone calls, devices acting strangely, or signs of covert entry into one's home, objects moved. The go dark procedure. 1. Cease all movement. The member stops all operational activity immediately. No dead drops, no meetings, no signaling. 2. Sanitize. Immediately destroy all one-time pads, decrypted messages, and the clean device, physically smash and dispose. 3. Enter the deep cover loop. Revert 100% to the civilian dirty pattern of life. Go to work, watch TV, sleep. Become the most boring version of the cover identity. 4. The dead drop signal, the distress flare. The member sets a prearranged distress signal at a designated public site. Example, a specific mark, e.g., a red chalk X, on a specific lamp post that the courier checks only from a distance. Meaning, I am compromised, do not contact me, cut me loose. Network response. Upon seeing the distress signal, the network immediately severs all links to that member. They are treated as if they have already been captured. This amputation saves the body. 10.4 The importance of redundancy and succession planning. A centralized network is a brittle network. To survive the inevitable loss of leaders and specialists, the organization must prioritize redundancy. 2 is 1, 1 is none. No critical function, encryption, courier management, financing, should ever be held by a single individual without a backup who is ready to step in immediately. The shadow specialist. For every specialized role, e.g., the master forger or the lead cryptographer, there must be an apprentice or a peer in a different cell who possesses the same skills and can take over the workload if the primary is captured. The succession envelope, the dead man's switch. Leadership transitions are the most dangerous moments for a network. The sealed orders. The Nexus leader prepares a set of sealed, encrypted instructions, the succession envelope, entrusted to a non-operational keeper, e.g., a trusted lawyer or a dormant, sleeper agent. The trigger, if the leader fails to check in for a set period, e.g., 14 days, the keeper delivers the envelope to the shadow leader. The shadow leader, an individual vetted and trained to lead, but who is currently kept on ice, inactive and unconnected to the daily operations to ensure they are clean. Upon activation, they open the envelope, which contains the master codes and the locations of the strategic dead drops, allowing them to reboot the command structure. By embedding these disciplines into the culture, valuing silence over status, preparing for the worst case, and building redundant systems, the opposition ensures that it is not merely a group of people, but a resilient, self-healing organism that can outlast the adversary's attrition.